This Family Life News podcast is made possible by the support of listeners like you.
The child in your life likely has a portal to the entire world stuffed into a pocket. There are dangers here, but they're not inevitable. Welcome to Family Life's Inside Out, where we look at how God transforms his people from the inside out. I'm Martha Manikas-Foster. Today, Dr. Kathy Koch is my guest for a conversation about the dangers of screens and the internet, yes, but also the continued potential for developing offline lives of our children and teens. Dr. Koch is the founder of Celebrate Kids Incorporated, which aims to equip and encourage parents to raise godly children who understand their purpose. Welcome back, Dr. Koch, to Inside Out.
I'm glad to be here, Martha. Thank you for the invitation.
You and I started talking in the dark ages. When a child wanted to get to a screen, they had to go home and get on the desktop or flip open a laptop, but the world has changed. I think we can say there's a lot of agreement that unfettered access to the internet, and mostly because there are smartphones, that has dangerous consequences in the development of children and teens. And before we focus on how adults can help children develop robust offline lives, would you summarize for us what you see as the most unwelcome effects of total access to the internet on children and on teens?
Right, I'd love to. Well, they don't have healthy relationships with people that they see face-to-face. I think most of our listeners can agree that they wish they had healthier, life-giving relationships with young people, but it's often hard to get them to talk, hard to get them to really engage, and that's because they don't have experiences with that, and they're satisfied by their texting relationships, which is sad. I think they value, I know they value fun, entertainment, happiness, and choice. I've written about that. And because they value fun, entertainment, happiness, and choice, because of how social media works, the games they play, the texting, the ease of everything, all of those things, because of that, they're struggling to persevere. They're struggling to be resilient and to handle the ups and downs that come with life because technology has taught them everything should be easy, automatic about them, and fun. So they give up and they give in far too frequently. Also, a major concern that we have at the ministry is that they trust Siri and Google, and they don't think they need what I would call real authority. Authority has failed them. You know, in their lifetime, they're very aware of failure everywhere, right? We see it live, right in front of us. We watch it occur. And so because authority is failing, they think, well, I might as well be my own authority rather than doing what you and I had to do when we were young, which was leave our bedroom and go find our dad or go find our mom and ask someone who we loved and who loved us, to give us truth. So that authority issue is a huge problem.
Let me just reset the table for those listening. If you've just joined us, you're listening to Inside Out on Family Life. I'm talking today with Dr. Kathy Koch, the founder of Celebrate Kids Incorporated. Dr. Koch, the same technology that has the potential to warp development, like we've been talking about, is also often required to get through the day. I mean, if you're going to complete your schoolwork, you're going to make a bank deposit, if you're going to apply for a job, you need to be using technology. And I believe children have the same potential to thrive today as they did before the dawn of the smartphone. So how can adults help children see beyond the screen and flourish physically, mentally, and spiritually?
I love that question, and I love your really healthy reminder that technology is here. It's here to stay. It's not in and of itself bad. We do have to use it at times. So we do need to help kids, young people, learn to enjoy offline activities and relationships. We need to stop, yelling at them for not being good at it. We need to stop, complaining. I like to say that complaining does nothing but change a good attitude to bad. It doesn't help our kids. So if you're concerned about the young people who are too much into their screen and they're not into the offline activities that you believe are life-giving, then demonstrate that. We need to demonstrate a vibrant relationship with the God of the Bible and a vibrant relationship with the people we love. We need to show our young people that we're sacrificing to spend time with other people because people matter. And we need to understand that they don't yet quite understand that because they haven't had enough experiences. So we need to, introduce them to good old-fashioned board games that go to a slower pace. They allow for deeper thinking and conversations. They may not ask, hey, Grandpa, could we play checkers? Or, Dad, could we, shoot hoops or play a game together? But we know that it's best for them, so we need to walk toward them and say, hey, I've got a couple of spare minutes. Do you want to go shoot hoops? Jigsaw puzzles, cards with grandparents. I have the best memories of playing card games with every time I went to my grandmother's, I knew I would play Kings on the Corner. It was the thing that we did. I still look back on that with great, fond memories. They also need to sleep more, and we need to help them do that. They need to learn to advocate for themselves and not always expect moms and tech to take care of them. Now, that's a whole other episode,
yes, it is.
But I'm putting that out there because they believe tech will rescue them, and far too many of our younger parents are helicoptering their children, if you will, and, preventing all the problems. And that makes children actually weak and fragile and not resilient and strong. So some of us need to back away. And I would say one more thing, Martha, and that is that if young people are using technology for education and work, then they need to use it less for fun. That's just the reality. When I look at minutes per day and brain and heart development and things like mental wellness, physical, spiritual wellness, if they have to use tech for educational causes, and there can be some good things that go on there, then they need to make the mature choice to stay off of it more for social media, scrolling, and gaming, because it won't be good for them.
So you're saying it would only add to the number of hours that they're using technology, so make, in a sense, the sacrifice since you're already using it so much for the required things? Is that where you're going?
Right. If you're required to use it for school, which, by the way, I'm not a fan of, learning on devices is not nearly as effective as learning with paper and pen and with teachers in front of you. But that, again, we'd need another 15 minutes for that. But if young people, if you will, forced into technology use for work or school, then they need to recognize that they need a break from that. Their mind and their heart and their soul and their spirit needs a break from that. And they need real people. They need, books on paper. They need jigsaw puzzles, crossword puzzles, Sudoku books, and pick-up games of basketball with their older brother. They need to get out of the house, get the vitamin D, go for a walk, and go have life experiences. If they are 24/7, 365 involved with tech, it is going to warp them. It might feel normal today, and it actually might be somewhat normal today, but the concern that we have is for 5 and 10 years from now, and will they be able to cope with the way the world works then?
Right. We're talking at the gift-giving time of year, and with everything that you've been saying, I'm looking to you for some wisdom on what would you suggest adults do? How would we vet the gifts that we want to give to children and to teens? In other words, what questions might you use to interrogate a game or activity before wrapping it up and giving it to a child this year?
Yeah, I love that. What if I first say we need to ask questions about the children that we're going to give the gifts to?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So we really need to step back and do we know the kids well enough? And if we don't, then we ask the adult children. Let's say that you're giving gifts to grandchildren and you're not with them a whole lot, so you're not really sure what they're into. Take the time to call your daughter, your son-in-law, and say, hey, what is Jeremiah, currently interested in? What kind of a game or a book or a toy might he enjoy? If you've got a grandson who is a problem solver, then go with a strategic game that relies on cause-effect thinking and memorization. If you have a daughter or a son or a grandson or a granddaughter who are creative, then go with crafts. And, even if it's a gift card to a Hobby Lobby, if there's one in your local town, that would be well appreciated. And go with them to the store if you can.
Oh, that'd be fun, yeah.
Let them spend your $25 or your $7. Games that use pictures and creativity. I would also give them experiences. I would actually love for this Christmas season to have us spend more money on experiences than on toys and games. Most kids have plenty of things to play with. They're already not using them. Just ask their parents, how many games do you have in the game closet that you hardly ever play? But give them experiences. Why? Because they do them with someone else. And then we go back to when I'm going to vet a game or an activity, is it something they need someone to play with? Then I would buy that. Don't buy them something that they can isolate with, because they're already isolating with their screen. So this is why, jigsaw puzzles that the family does, or a board game that requires 4 or more people of all different ages is a good idea. And you can also vet the experiences. I'm a huge fan of museums and zoos, botanical gardens, presidential libraries, and birthplaces. No joke. If you live nearby, if I look back on my childhood, my parents, fortunately, we were able to travel some, and my brother Dave and I went to numerous presidential birthplaces and presidential libraries. And those were important times for us to understand history and to have true heroes that we could be grateful for and look back on. I'm also, Martha, if you haven't thought about this, I'm also a huge fan of factory tours.
No, I had not thought of that one, no.
It's fascinating. I live in a city, for instance, that has a huge bread factory. It is fascinating to go take a tour of the factory where they make the bread and the buns and the hamburger buns and the hot dog buns. I live also in Fort Worth, Texas, which is where our money is made. We have one of the U.S. Mint.
Oh, Mint, yeah.
That tour is fascinating. And you can do these things on vacation, but just, go to your Chamber of Commerce or, use Google in a positive way and ask for local factory tours. And there are many that children 10 and older maybe are allowed to go to. Now, again, Martha, they're not going to ask for that as a gift.
Right.
But you know that you would enjoy doing that with your grandkids. And then the discussion you have afterwards. I live not too far from an ice cream factory. Come on, who would not want to go?
Okay, I'm
take
in.
A tour
I'm in. Yes.
of how ice cream is made, and then you go out for ice cream after.
Yeah. All very fascinating. And what a lot of fun. I certainly enjoyed it as a child, and I enjoyed taking my kids as well. So, yeah, watch out, my Zoe and Wesley. It's coming for you.
I love it.
Well, Dr. Koch, thank you so much for your wisdom, for the work that you do with Celebrate Kids, and for joining me here today on Inside Out.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
My guest has been Dr. Kathy Koch, the founder of Celebrate Kids Incorporated. Learn more about Dr. Koch and Celebrate Kids by going to celebratekids.com. That's all one word, celebratekids.com. I'm Martha Manikas-Foster with Inside Out on Family Life.
Thank you for listening to this Family Life News podcast. If you've been encouraged by what you've heard, please share it with others and click the subscribe button to automatically receive future episodes. Family Life is a listener-supported ministry. Podcasts like this are made possible by your financial partnership. Find out more at familylife.org.